After that, the all-creating sovereign mind of perfect purity taught how the things which emerged from the creation done by her became the things in their particularity. O great Bodhisattva, how is the mind the actuation of reality? How is it that all particularity is totally absent in the non-dual great bliss? What is known as the fathomless one transcends all perceptible objects and dwells from the primordial in a non-conceptual state, just like the sky. No simile permits one to fathom the mind of perfect purity. The things created by the mind are purified of particularities. It is said that whatever is created by the mind, what appears and exists as the animated and inanimated world, the Buddhas and sentient beings, is produced from the mind's own being as its actuation. I shall now teach you how the universe manifests after it was produced. The 5 great elements and the appearing of the 6 categories of sentient beings realize their purpose through form and body. They become measurable after they emerge from the pure own being of the mind. Such she spoke. Then Sempa Dorje asked, O all-creating sovereign, E Maho! All good, E Maho! O you mind of perfect purity, E Maho! When first the mind of perfect purity arises unaware of itself and the things, these are united as the retinues of you, the omniscient one. You, the omniscient one, may explain this to me as I am unfamiliar with the object of my question. Briefly, explain how all things are united as one, the mind of perfect purity. Teach me how two are in one. How can the purpose of existence be fathomed? This he asked. Then the all-creating sovereign mind of perfect purity proclaimed, Ho! I am spontaneously self-perfected from the primordial. I am the vigor of spontaneous self-perfection of all Buddhas. I am the actuating essence of compassion. I shall teach the purpose of what I have created for the good of those who take joy in my deeds at a time appropriate for such joy. Listen, O Sempa Dorje. The one thing you ought to take joy in is that I am teaching that the actuating essence of the mind of perfect purity, the essence of the mind, creates all because all things are encompassed in this one. For those who like to enumerate characteristics, I teach that it is insufficient to specify the variety of what is created by the all-creating sovereign. But I also teach my own being. The one is my vigor. What emerges as two is created by me. You may count the created things, whereby the counting is 1, 2, etc. But in the end, this counting is inexplicable. The inexplicable is the vigor of all things. I teach the inexplicable, the vigor of all things, to be one. This one is the all-creating mind of perfect purity, while the created things are in a state of duality. Cause and result are of 2 kinds. Therefore ultimate and conventional are of 2 kinds, and therefore there are definitions of these 3, example, meaning, and characteristic. Sacred instructions of definitive meaning and those of a debatable meaning are classified as 2 types. On the basis of the 5 great elements as cause, the resultant form of the 3 realms and the sentient beings becomes apparent. When the 3 realms and the sentient beings function as a cause, the Buddhas are called the result. If cause and result are taught in terms of simile and meaning, then the cause is given in the sentient beings of the 3 realms, while the result is called the Buddha's teachings. This is known as a debatable teaching. You ought to distinguish between these 2. The cause is the 5 great elements, yet all the created things become apparent because of the mind. If one does not understand suchness, one surely considers such things as the 6 sensory objects in terms of object and subject by applying these wrong and erroneous concepts. For this reason, the 6 perishable and the 6 receptacles are known as the perishable receptacle. The 6 objects are the support of the 6 desires, and thus the 6 desires lead to suffering, and therefore they are called misery. What is called the overcoming of misery is one does not consider the things as the 6 objects, and no birth happens in the place of the 6 forms of existence. Because of the overcoming of misery, it is called the transcendence of suffering. How is it that from the perfect purity, the vigor, the true being effortlessly arises, that also the 5 great elements are understood as its own characteristics? That perfect purity is the vigor of all, that one is able to grasp the actuating essence, which is otherwise imperceptible. This is explained as the characteristic of the characteristics. Because of the 5 great elements arising from the purity's own being, a vigor generating all things becomes apparent, which in turn generates all sentient beings. Not to understand that these emanations are self-originated will result in the following assumptions. After considering this path of practice as the cause, one will desire to obtain the result of that cause. Therefore, what is called cause is declared to be the vehicle to obtain whatever result is desired. This is taught as abandoning, obstructing, and practicing. What is called result is known as the result or fruit, which is produced by the essential cause. Its essential own being is an own being free of birth and decay, and is called diamond nature. There are 2 ways of achieving this diamond. The outer one is the desire to achieve results by means of performing certain acts and abandoning others. Acts based on form, utterance, spirit, and wisdom. It is like reaching for the moon reflected on the water, while the inner achievement of the diamond nature, which is free of performing and abandoning, is to see the scope of one's own self, which is identical with the dimension of own being, by means of the essence and the 3 stages. You will overcome any salutary acts, which essentially are no acts, when you become one with the essence of all, this deedlessness which has no support whatsoever. I am establishing the sacred lore of the bliss of non-striving by giving up the bliss of the deedless. If the followers of the vehicle of striving, who may have practiced their system for 3 eons, or 7 lifespans, or 1 year and 6 months, or a mere 16 months, are instructed in the intrinsic nature of the deedless, they will dwell in the bliss of effortless, spontaneous self-perfection. It is impossible not to be perfected therein. The one is consummate, and thus are the 2 consummate, and all is consummate. Thereby, the creation is in a state of consummate bliss. The one is consummate means the mind of perfect purity is consummate. The 2 is consummate means the creation by the mind is consummate. All is consummate means that absolutely everything is consummate. Through this sacred instruction, that the one is consummate, which is the Buddha's intention, you shall dwell in the Buddha's intention. The meaning of all is consummate is that everything is made in its utmost perfection. Who dwells in the deedless is Buddha in the reality of her intention, although that person's body may be that of a human being or of a god. By this means you will reach the bliss free of striving and achieving, and fulfill the purpose of a sentient being. This she spoke. This is the 7th chapter of the all-creating sovereign mind of perfect purity, in which the fathoming of reality was summarized.